The roar of the crowd crashed over Wyatt Harlan like a tidal wave, but it was the silence in his chest that nearly drowned him. He had just thrown the winning pass, the ball slicing through the Friday night lights like a knife through butter, sealing the state championship for Ridge Valley High in their dusty Texas field. Yet as his teammates hoisted him onto their shoulders, sweat stinging his eyes and the metallic tang of blood from a split lip on his tongue, Wyatt scanned the bleachers and locked eyes with Elias Crow, the quiet kid from AP Lit who never cheered, never blended in, just sat there with a dog-eared book in his lap, watching with those steady gray eyes that saw right through the helmet and the hype. Wyatt stumbled off the makeshift throne of his friend's shoulders, the victory whoops fading into a dull buzz as he pushed through the sea of slapping high-fives and backpats, his cleats sinking into the churned-up grass. Elias was already slipping away, backpack slung over one narrow shoulder, his faded flannel shirt tucked into jeans that hung loose on his frame, like he was built for libraries, not locker rooms. Wyatt's heart hammered harder than it had during the game. A desperate rhythm that had nothing to do with football. He called out, voice rough from shouting plays, "Hey Crow, wait up." Elias paused at the edge of the parking lot, the sodium glow of the floodlights casting long shadows across his pale face, freckles like scattered stars on his nose. He turned slowly, those gray eyes widening just a fraction, the book. Some thick volume of poetry Wyatt couldn't name, clutched like a shield. "Harlan," Elias said, his voice soft but steady, laced with that faint drawl from the panhandle that made everything sound like a secret. "Congrats on the win. You were unstoppable out there." Wyatt wiped his face with the hem of his jersey, the number 7 smeared in red clay. He wanted to say something cocky, something to match the legend they were already building around him. The golden boy of Ridge Valley, the kid with scouts whispering Division I offers in his ear. But the words stuck, tangled in the knot of something deeper, something that had been uncoiling in his gut since the first time Elias had corrected him in class, not with smugness, but with this quiet fire that made Wyatt feel seen, not just stared at. "You stuck around," Wyatt said instead, stepping closer. Close enough to catch the faint scent of old paper and rain-damp earth on Elias. "Most people bolt after the horn." Elias shrugged, a small lift of one shoulder, but his gaze held Wyatt's unflinching. "I like watching the real game. The one after the clock runs out." There was a pause, heavy as the humid night air, and then Elias added softer, "You look like you need a breather, quarterback." Wyatt laughed, but it came out jagged, echoing off the empty stands. He did need a breather, hell, he needed air that didn't taste like expectations, like the weight of his daddy's old trophies gathering dust in the garage, or the sidelong glances from coach that said more than plays ever could. Ridge Valley was the kind of town where Friday nights were religion, and Wyatt was the high priest, but Sundays in the pews with Mama whispering prayers for his soul felt like a countdown to judgment. Elias was the glitch in the system. The kid who quoted Whitman in the hallways and volunteered at the animal shelter on weekends, fixing up strays no one else bothered with. He wasn't from money, not like the oil heirs who filled the stands, but there was a steadiness to him, a quiet rebellion that Wyatt envied from the bottom of his cleat-marked soul. They ended up walking to Wyatt's truck, an old Ford pickup with dents from too many tailgates, the engine rumbling to life like a reluctant confession. Elias slid into the passenger seat without asking, and Wyatt drove them out past the edge of town, where the highway dissolved into gravel roads flanked by mesquite and cotton fields silvered by moonlight. They didn't talk much at first, just the crackle of the radio playing some forgotten country tune about lost loves. But the silence between them hummed with possibility, electric as a storm front rolling in from the Gulf. "You ever feel like you're playing someone else's game?" Wyatt asked finally, killing the engine at an overlook where the valley sprawled out like a rumpled quilt, lights from farmhouses twinkling like distant regrets. He leaned back against the worn leather, his thighs still aching from the hits he'd taken, bruises blooming under his pads like secrets. Elias tilted his head, considering, his fingers tracing the spine of his book. "Every day," he admitted, voice barely above the chirp of crickets. "But I figure it's my job to rewrite the rules. What about you? You're the king of this place. Why question the crown?" Wyatt stared out at the horizon, where the sky bled into earth, and felt the truth claw its way up his throat. "Because it chokes me, Elias. All of it, the cheers, the scouts, the way folks look at me like I'm gonna save this town from drying up. But inside. He trailed off, glancing at Elias, whose face was half shadow, half light, those gray eyes pulling him in like gravity. Inside, Wyatt thought, it's you. It's the way you smile when no one's watching, the way you don't give a damn about the scoreboard. Elias didn't push, just nodded, like he understood the unspoken parts. They sat there until the stars sharpened overhead, trading stories in fits and starts, Wyatt about the pressure of being Harlan's only son, the ghost of a father who bailed when the oil rigs went dry, Elias about his mom, a single teacher scraping by in a trailer on the outskirts, teaching him to find worlds in words because the real one was too small. By the time Wyatt dropped him off at the edge of town, the first pink streaks of dawn were clawing at the sky, and Wyatt's hand lingered on the gearshift, brushing Elias's knee by accident, or maybe not. "See you Monday," Elias said, stepping out, but he paused, looking back with a half-smile that hit Wyatt like a blindside tackle. "And Wyatt? You're more than the game. Don't let them forget it." Wyatt watched him walk away, backpack swinging, until he vanished into the morning mist. Back home, he collapsed into bed, the scent of grass and Elias clinging to his skin, and for the first time in years, sleep came easy, dreams laced with gray eyes and unspoken promises. Monday blurred into a haze of classes and practice, the high from the championship souring under the grind of college prep and coaches' endless drills. Wyatt spotted Elias in the cafeteria, hunched over a tray of mystery meat, and a notebook scribbled with equations that looked like alien code. He was explaining something to a cluster of freshmen, his voice patient, hands gesturing like he was conducting an invisible orchestra. Wyatt's chest tightened. Jealousy? No, admiration, sharp and unfamiliar. He slid into the seat across from him during lunch, ignoring the raised eyebrows from his usual crew at the jock table. "Mind if I crash?" Wyatt asked, unwrapping a sandwich he had no appetite for. Elias looked up, surprise flickering before settling into warmth. Free country. Or at least free lunch period. They fell into easy rhythm, Wyatt venting about a pop quiz he'd bombed in history, Elias breaking it down with analogies from football, battles as plays, dates as downs. It was effortless, this back and forth, like they'd been trading passes their whole lives. After school, Wyatt found himself lingering by Elias's locker, heart thudding as he asked, "You got plans tonight?" "There's this spot by the creek, old tire swing, nothing fancy. Thought maybe we could talk more." Elias's cheeks flushed, a rare crack in his composure. "Yeah, sounds good." The creek was a hidden bend in the Brazos, willows draping like curtains, water murmuring over smooth stones. They skipped rocks, Wyatt skimming 4 times before sinking, Elias's gliding like they were born to it. Laughter bubbled up, real and unguarded, chasing away the shadows Wyatt carried. As the sun dipped, painting the water gold, Elias turned to him, voice low. "Why me, Wyatt? You could be anywhere with anyone." Wyatt met his gaze, the words tumbling out before he could cage them. "Because with you I don't have to pretend. You see the mess under the pads and you don't run." Elias stepped closer, the space between them shrinking to a breath. Their hands brushed, fingers lacing tentatively, and in that touch Wyatt felt alive, truly bone-deep alive for the first time. Weeks melted into a secret rhythm, stolen moments threading through the fabric of Ridge Valley's unyielding routine. Wyatt's days were a whirlwind of weight room grunts and film sessions, his nights claimed by Elias under the cover of twilight. They'd meet at the creek or in the abandoned barn on the edge of Harlan land, where hay bales served as thrones and the air smelled of dust and possibility. Elias brought books, Kerouac's road-worn dreams, Baldwin's unflinching truths, and Wyatt listened, mesmerized, as Elias's voice wove them into something personal, something that mirrored the ache in his own chest. "You're like Jack out there on the field," Elias said one evening, legs dangling over the tire swing as they swayed gently above the water. "Chasing that next big play, but what if the road's not straight? What if it's this?" He gestured vaguely at the empty fields, the fireflies winking like conspirators. Wyatt leaned back, arms slung casual around Elias's shoulders, but his pulse betrayed him, racing under the flannel. "This feels right. Scary as hell, but right." He hadn't told anyone, not Mama, with her Bible on the nightstand and her worried glances at his late hours. Not Coach, who treated him like a prize steer at auction. The town was a pressure cooker of gossip and God-fearing norms, where faggot was whispered like a curse in the locker room, and Wyatt's status as the golden boy was a fragile shield. But with Elias, the world narrowed to the warmth of his body, the soft hitch in his breath when Wyatt pulled him close. Their first kiss happened on a night thick with thunderheads, the air electric before the rain. They'd been talking about futures, Wyatt's dreams of Austin, scholarships that could yank him from Rich Valley's grip, Elias's quiet ambition for a teaching fellowship up north, maybe Yale if the stars aligned. "You'll make it," Elias murmured, tracing the line of Wyatt's jaw with tentative fingers. "You're too bright to burn out here." Wyatt caught his hand, holding it against his skin, the touch igniting something primal. "Not without you." The words hung vulnerable, and then Elias closed the gap, lips brushing Wyatt's tentative at first, then deepening with a hunger that stole Wyatt's breath. It was messy, urgent. Teeth clashing, hands fisting in shirts, the storm breaking overhead as rain lashed the barn roof like applause. Wyatt tasted salt and sweetness, felt Elias's heart hammering against his. And in that tangle of limbs and lightning, he understood desire not as sin, but as salvation. Afterward, they lay entwined on a blanket of old saddle pads, rain drumming a lullaby, Elias's head on Wyatt's chest. "This changes everything," Elias whispered, fingers drawing lazy circles on Wyatt's stomach. Wyatt pressed a kiss to his temple, inhaling the clean scent of him. "Good change. The best." But even as he said it, doubt flickered. A shadow of what-ifs, of the scouts coming in 2 weeks, of homecoming where he'd have to dance with some cheerleader named Becca to keep the facade intact. The facade held through the next game, Wyatt threading needles through defenses like it was nothing, the crowd chanting his name as if it could fill the hollows. But in the stands Elias watched, his presence an anchor amid the chaos. Post-game, Wyatt slipped away from the bonfire party, the kegs flowing and bass thumping from truck beds, to meet Elias at their spot. They made love under the stars, slow and reverent, Wyatt memorizing the arch of Elias's back, the gasps that were music only he could hear. Trouble brewed subtle at first, like heat lightning on the horizon. Tyler Knox, Wyatt's second-string running back and self-appointed wingman, started ribbing him harder than usual. "Where you been, Harlan? Ghosting the crew for what extra reps?" Tyler's grin was all teeth, eyes sharp as he clapped Wyatt on the back too hard during drills. "Just focusing, man," Wyatt shot back, lacing his cleats tighter, avoiding those probing stares. Tyler was built like a freight train, all bluff and bravado, but Wyatt had seen the flicker of envy in him, the way he lingered too long in the showers, stealing glances that could curdle milk. Elias noticed too, during one of their library hideouts, third-floor stacks, where the history tomes smelled of mildew and forgotten wars. They were tucked in a corner, knees touching under the table, Elias quizzing Wyatt on Civil War tactics while his foot traced Wyatt's calf. "Knox give you shit today?" Elias asked, pen pausing mid-note. Wyatt shrugged, but tension coiled in his shoulders. "Nothing I can't handle. He's just pissed I benched him last game." Truth was, Tyler had cornered him after practice, slurring something about sticking to the playbook and not getting distracted by weirdos. Wyatt had laughed it off, but the word lingered, a splinter under his skin. Elias's eyes darkened, that quiet fire igniting. "He's threatened. By you pulling away, yeah, but maybe more. Be careful, Wyatt." Wyatt pulled him into a quick, fierce kiss, tasting ink and worry. "I got this. We got this." But the cracks widened. At homecoming, Wyatt twirled Becca under the gym lights, her laughter tinny as he scanned the crowd for Elias, who manned the punch bowl with forced smiles. Their eyes met across the sweat-slick floor, a promise in the glance. Meet later. Wyatt ditched the after-party early, heart pounding as he gunned the truck toward the creek. Elias was waiting, jacket off, sleeves rolled up, the moonlight silvering his arms. They collided like magnets, kisses bruising, hands mapping familiar territories with renewed desperation. "Missed you," Wyatt growled against Elias's neck, nipping the skin there, eliciting a moan that echoed in the night. "Every second," Elias gasped, pulling Wyatt down to the grass, their bodies aligning in that perfect heartbreaking sync. It was feverish, clothes shed in a trail, skin slick with dew and desire. Wyatt lost himself in the rhythm, in the way Elias whispered his name like a prayer. But as climax crested, a rustle in the brush shattered the illusion. Tyler stumbled out, phone flashlight blazing, his face twisting from shock to disgust. "What the fuck, Harlan?" Time froze. Elias scrambled for his shirt, Wyatt lunging to shield him, but the damage was done. Tyler's laugh barked out, cruel and disbelieving. "You? With Crow? Jesus man, the whole team's gonna eat this up." "Shut your mouth, Knox," Wyatt snarled, stepping forward, fists clenched. Rain from earlier made the ground slick, but he didn't care. Rage boiled, hot and protective. Tyler backed up, smirking, but fear edged his voice. "Your funeral, QB. Hope that scholarship tastes like regret." He vanished into the dark, leaving silence thicker than fog. Elias trembled beside him, eyes wide. "Wyatt." "It's okay," Wyatt lied, pulling him close, but the world had tilted, and the fall was just beginning. The fallout hit like a sack from a linebacker twice Wyatt's size, invisible but bone-crushing. By Monday, whispers slithered through the halls of Ridge Valley High like smoke from a grease fire. Eyes darting, snickers muffled behind hands, Tyler's version of the story twisted into something ugly, laced with slurs that stuck like burrs. Wyatt walked the corridors with his head high, Letterman jacket armor, but inside panic clawed. Scouts arriving Thursday, coach's office reeking of disappointment, Mama's church ladies already clucking about youth these days. Elias bore it quieter, retreating into himself like a turtle shelling up. In class, he kept his gaze on his notebook, pencils scratching furious notes, but Wyatt caught the tremor in his hands, the way he flinched at sudden laughter. They met in the bathroom between periods, door locked, Wyatt pressing Elias against the cool tile for frantic kisses that tasted of fear. "We'll ride it out," Wyatt murmured, thumbs brushing away the shadows under Elias's eyes. "They'll move on to the next scandal." But Elias pulled back, gray eyes stormy. "It's not just talk, Wyatt. My mom's already getting calls. Concerned parents asking if I'm a bad influence. And you. God, your future." Wyatt cupped his face fierce. "My future's you. Screw the rest." It was half-truth. The scouts' emails burned in his inbox, visions of Longhorn stadiums flickering like faulty reels. But losing Elias? That was eclipse, total and terrifying. Practice that afternoon was hellfire. Coach barked plays with extra venom, his mustache twitching as he sidelined Wyatt for a head check. Tyler strutted like he'd won the lottery, tossing winks to the linebackers, who eyed Wyatt with new wariness. "Focus, Harlan," Coach growled during water breaks, clapping his shoulder hard enough to bruise. "Distractions lose games. And championships." Wyatt nodded, jaw set, but his throws sailed wild, mind replaying Tyler's flashlight beam, the violation of their sacred space. After, in the shower, steam cloaking the tension, Tyler sidled up, soap lathering his chest. "Look man, I didn't mean to." "Save it," Wyatt snapped, rinsing under scalding water, back turned. "You outed us. Happy now?" Tyler's voice dropped, almost contrite. "Wasn't about that. Just shocked. Thought you were one of us." The pause hung heavy with subtext. Us, the straight-laced pack, the unspoken code that bound them tighter than blood. Wyatt toweled off, dressing quick. "You don't know shit about me, Knox." He stormed out, truck tires spitting gravel as he headed to Elias's trailer, the aluminum siding glinting under sodium lights, wind chimes tinkling like warnings. Elias's mom, Clara, answered the door, her face lined with fatigue but kind, flour-dusted apron from baking. "Wyatt. He's in his room. But honey, be gentle. This town's got teeth." Elias was curled on his bed, surrounded by stacked books like fortifications, a lamp casting warm pools on pages dog-eared to oblivion. He looked up, vulnerable, and Wyatt's heart fractured. "Hey," Elias said, voice small. "Heard about practice." Wyatt sat beside him, pulling Elias into his lap, arms a cage against the world. "Doesn't matter. None of it." They held on, breath sinking until need overrode fear. Kisses slow, exploratory, hands relearning paths. Elias's room was a sanctuary of posters, constellations, civil rights marches, and they tumbled across the quilt, Wyatt worshipping every inch, murmurs of mine and stay weaving with sighs. It was tender reclaiming, Elias arching under him like a bowstring released, their union a defiant hymn. After tangled in sheets, Elias traced Wyatt's tattoos, a lone star on his bicep, inked on a dare, and whispered, "What if we run? After graduation? Just go." Wyatt's throat tightened. Texas is big, but not big enough to hide. Yet the dream took root, a seed in barren soil. Thursday dawned brittle, scouts in pressed khakis milling the sidelines, clipboards like judgment paddles. Wyatt channeled the rage, his arm a cannon, spiraling perfect arcs that drew nods and murmurs. Coach beamed, Tyler sulked on the bench, and for a stolen hour Wyatt was untouchable. Elias watched from the bleachers, notebook open but untouched, pride shining in his eyes. That night, victory tasted bitter. The scouts shook hands, promised callbacks, but Coach pulled Wyatt aside in his office, doors shut, the scent of stale coffee thick. "Son, rumors flying. Tyler says, well, clean it up or it'll tank everything." Wyatt's fists balled. "It's bullshit, Coach. Private stuff." Coach's eyes narrowed, paternal mask slipping. "Private's fine till it bleeds into the team. You're our star, Wyatt. Act like it." The implication landed like a gut punch, straighten up or else. Wyatt drove aimless, ending at the Overlook, where Elias waited with a thermos of coffee and quiet. They sat on the hood, stars indifferent overhead. "He knows," Wyatt confessed, voice cracking. "Pressuring me to fix it." Elias stiffened, then softened, leaning into him. "And you? What do you want?" Wyatt turned, cupping Elias's face, kissing him deep, pouring truth into it. But it's tearing me apart." The betrayal came swift, a knife in the ribs. Friday's team meeting, Tyler confessed to Coach. Exaggerated, venomous, painting Elias as the seducer, Wyatt the victim. By noon it leaked. Texts buzzing, parents calling Mama, who confronted Wyatt at dinner, Bible thumping the table. "Is it true? Lord help us, Wyatt, tell me it's not." He denied it, voice steady, but her tears carved deeper than any lie. "You're better than this. Fix it or you'll break us all." Elias vanished that weekend, phone silent, trailer dark. Wyatt pounded the door Saturday night, rain sheeting down. Clara answered, eyes red. "He left for his aunts in Dallas. Said to give you space. Said he loves you too much to ruin you." Wyatt staggered back, world blurring. Betrayal, not Tyler's but his own silence, the half measures that let the wolves in. He drove to the creek alone, tire swing swaying mournful, and wept into the dark, the quarterback crown heavy as lead. The void Elias left was a black hole, sucking light from Wyatt's days until Ridge Valley grayed at the edges. Practice became punishment, his throws erratic, Coach's bench threats landing like lashes. Tyler played the penitent. Sorry bro slaps on the back that reeked of false mercy, but the team fractured, whispers dividing into camps, some loyal, others drifting to Knox's orbit. Mama's meals were silent vigils, her eyes pleading over pot roast. Grace said longer each night as if words could exorcise the sin. Wyatt haunted the places they'd claimed. Library stacks echoing empty, creek waters mocking with their murmur. He texted Elias's aunt's number. Please swallowed by silence, each unread blue bubble a fresh wound. Nights he lay staring at the ceiling fan's lazy spin, replaying their last touch, the way Elias's fingers had trembled on his skin, love unspoken but etched in every curve. Guilt gnawed. His hesitation, the nod to Coach's warnings, had driven the wedge. He was the star, but stars burned alone. A weekend fracture point. Home game against rivals from Lubbock. Stands packed with scouts, redux, and townies hungry for blood. Wyatt suited up, mechanical, pads chafing like accusations. Halftime, down by 10, locker room thick with sweat and defeat. Coach lit into him. Wake up, Harlan. This ain't no fairy tale. The slur hung, casual venom, and something snapped. Wyatt surged up, face inches from Coach's. Say that again. The room hushed, teammates frozen. Coach blinked, mustache quivering. What? It's football, son. It's bullshit, Wyatt roared, voice echoing off lockers. I'm done pretending. For you, for them, for anyone. He stripped his jersey, number 7 glaring, and stormed out, bare-chested into the chill night. Crowds roared distant thunder. He didn't return. Drove straight to Dallas. For hours of blacktop blurring under tires, heart a war drum. Elias's aunt lived in a quiet suburb. Bungalow with roses climbing trellises. Porch light a beacon. Wyatt parked crooked, knuckles raw from gripping the wheel, and knocked, rain starting in fat drops. Elias opened the door, hair tousled, glasses askew, flannel rumpled like he'd been pacing. Shock widened his eyes, then softened to ache. Wyatt! How? Quit the team, Wyatt blurted, stepping in, dripping on the welcome mat. Told coach to shove it. Told the whole damn town in a way. Words spilled then. The halftime fury, mama's calls mid-drive. The scouts text withdrawing interest like cowards. I can't lose you. Not for a game, not for anything. Elias closed the door, backing against it, tears tracking silent. You idiot. Your future. Our future, Wyatt corrected, closing the gap, hands framing Elias's face. If you'll have me. The kiss was salt and storm desperate, Elias's sob breaking against Wyatt's lips as they sank to the floor, rug soft under knees. It was reclamation, bodies frantic then slowing to worship. Wyatt tracing freckles like maps, Elias's gasps guiding him home. They moved to the bedroom, aunt's house empty for the weekend, sheets cool against fevered skin, union a vow sealed in whispers and release. Dawn found them entwined, Elias's head on Wyatt's chest, fingers laced. What now? Elias murmured, voice thick with sleep and wonder. Wyatt kissed his forehead. We fight. Together. Plan sketched hazy. Community college for Wyatt, working nights at the garage, saving for Austin where Elias could transfer credits. No scholarships, no glory but freedom raw earned. Back in Ridge Valley, backlash brewed. Mama's voicemails wept forgiveness laced with confusion. Coach's call was curt. Suspension pending board review. Tyler texted a half-assed olive branch, but Wyatt deleted it, blocking the noise. Town divided. Old-timers shaking heads at the diner, a few classmates slipping notes of quiet support. Saw you on the field. Real courage, man. Elias returned Monday, chin up, backpack heavy with resolve. They walked halls hand in brush, not flaunting but unashamed, Elias's quiet strength a shield. Lunch in the courtyard under live oaks shedding copper leaves, they shared a bench, knees touching. Heard you went rogue, a voice drawled. Finn Riley, lanky wide receiver with a poet's soul hidden under farm boy drawl. He dropped beside them, sandwich in hand. About time, Harlan. Team's a mess without you anyway. Surprise bloomed, then alliance. Finn had his own secrets, crushes unspoken. A brother lost to the same town's judgments. Knox is all bluster, Finn added low. Half the guys think he's full of it. Gratitude swelled, Wyatt clapping Finn's shoulder. Appreciate it, man. The climax crested that Friday, board meeting turned spectacle. Parents packed the gym, Bibles and pitchforks in spirit. Clara Crow facing down glares with steel in her spine. Wyatt and Elias sat front row. Hands clasped under the table, Mama beside him, her grip tentative but there. Coach testified first, voice gruff. Boy's talented but distracted. Needs discipline. Then Wyatt rose, microphone trembling slight in his hand. Discipline's what got me here. Hiding who I am to chase your approval. Elias didn't distract me. He woke me up. Voices murmured, but he pressed on, voice steadying. I'm gay. And I'm done apologizing. Football was my cage, but love? That's freedom. Chaos erupted. Claps scattered, shouts, Clara's proud sob. Tyler slunk in back, face ashen, but Wyatt met his eyes, no hate, just pity. Hurt people hurt, Elias whispered later, squeezing his hand. The board suspended the suspension, coach grumbled but relented. One more chance, Harlan. On my terms. But terms shifted. Inclusivity talks, ally training, Finn's nudge turning tide. That night, creekside bonfire, just them. Mama even came, tentative, bearing Esmeralda's and halting questions. I raised you better than lies, Wyatt. But I see it now. The light in your eyes. Her hug was fierce, forgiveness a bomb. Elias leaned into Wyatt, fire crackling. We did it. Not done, Wyatt replied, kissing his temple. But alive. Truly. Winter gripped Ridge Valley like a reluctant lover, frost-etching windows and breath clouds in the air. But warmth bloomed in the quiet spaces Wyatt and Elias carved. No more shadows, they walked Main Street hand in hand, Elias's flannel brushing Wyatt's denim, drawing stares that softened over time, from curious to casual, the town's pulse adjusting like an old engine. Wyatt worked doubles at the auto shop, grease under nails and back aching, but evenings with Elias, tutoring sessions turning to tangled sheets in the trailer, were gold dust, each touch a reminder of stakes won. Mama thawed slow, Sunday dinners evolving from strained silences to questions about Austin, her knitting needles clicking approval. Your daddy would've. Well, hell, he was a mess himself. Proud of you, boy. Both of you. Clara joined once, the table laughing over pie. Two mothers bridging divides with shared stories of raising firecrackers. School simmered. Finn rallied a GSA club. Scrappy meetings in the art room birthing rainbow stickers on lockers. Tyler hovered peripheral. Apology mumbled in the parking lot one sleet slick morning. Fucked up, Harlan. Jealous mostly. You always the hero. Wyatt nodded, no absolution but truce. Fix it by being better, Knox. Tyler tried, awkward ally at first, then genuine. The team mending fractures with pickup games where plays honored heart over hustle. Elias's acceptance letter arrived in February, Yale's seal gleaming like promise. Wyatt hooped, spinning him in the living room, but joy soured quick, distance a chasm wider than Texas. We'll visit, Elias vowed, but doubt crept. Nights when Wyatt woke to empty arms, dreams of Elias fading into city lights. Spring unfurled tentative, wildflowers rioting along fences, graduation caps ordered with flourish. Wyatt's speech loomed, valedictorian nod to Elias, who grinned wry. Don't choke, QB. Rehearsals in the barn, Elias coaching words, kisses punctuation, built to a raw honesty. We chase dreams not to escape but to claim ourselves. For the quiet kids, the loud ones, the loves that scare us, that's the real win. Scouts circled back, whispers of walk-ons at smaller schools, but Wyatt chose community college, Austin's glow 2 hours away, a bridge to Yale summers. No stars without ground, he told Elias, who nodded, eyes shining. Conflict reignited subtle. A spark from old embers. Becca, homecoming ghost, cornered Elias at the bookstore, voice honeyed venom. He's slumming with you. Wait till college girls turn his head. Elias laughed it off, but seeds planted. Nights when he pulled away, gray eyes distant. What if I'm holding you back? He'd murmur, post-love, body still humming but mind adrift. Wyatt soothed with truths, but insecurity festered, betrayals echo. Then prom night, gym transformed in twinkling lights. Elias in borrowed slacks. Wyatt in a tie that strangled. They danced slow under disco ball rain. Hands low on hips, world narrowing to sway in song. But Tyler cut in clumsy. Mind if I? A test, Elias stepping back gracious. Wyatt watched, gut twisting as Tyler's hand lingered on Elias's waist, laughed too loud. Jealousy flared, Wyatt yanking Elias away mid-song. Into the shadows by the bleachers. What was that? Elias blinked, hurt flashing. Dancing. Letting go of grudges. You think I'd? After everything? Wyatt's voice cracked, old fears roaring. Tyler's got history. I see how he looks. Elias recoiled, fire kindling. And you? Flirting with Becca last week at the diner. Just polite, my ass. Trust goes both ways, Wyatt. The fight spilled hot. Accusations flying, hurts unearthed like buried mines. You're scared I'll leave, Elias accused, tears hot. So you push first. Wyatt deflated, sinking to the gym floor, back to wall. Maybe. Lost too much already. Elias knelt, forgiveness in touch, but the rift lingered, a hairline fracture. Graduation dawned sweltering, caps sailing like prayers. Wyatt's speech landed, applause thunderous, Elias's proud gaze anchor. Post-ceremony, families mingled, Mama snapping photos, Clara toasting with plastic cups. But Elias pulled Wyatt aside, under the oak by the field. We need space. Not break but breathe. Yale's calling. Wyatt's world tilted. No. We fight through. Elias cupped his face, thumb tracing lip. We are fighting. For us, not against. Kiss goodbye, soft as summer rain. Then Elias gone, duffel in Aunt's car heading east. Wyatt drove home alone, radio silent, ache vast as plains. Summer stretched barren. Shifts at the shop. Runs along the creek. Letters to Elias thick with longing. Betrayal revisited in dreams. Tyler's light, his own silences. But growth sprouted, volunteering at the shelter with Finn. Fixing fences literal and not. Mama's stories of her own youth. Love's hidden in 70s shadows. Fall leaves turned, Elias's calls sporadic, voice bright with ivy halls but edged with homesick. Miss you, he'd say, and Wyatt'd reply. Building our road. Scouts knocked again, junior college offer solid, Austin a beacon. Climax brewed in November, Elias's fall break. Wyatt met him at the airport, heart in throat, Elias stepping off plane thinner, eyes weary but alight. They collided, airport bustle fading, kiss unbroken till security cleared throats. Back in Ridge Valley rekindling fierce, barn nights body and soul merging, words bridging gaps. I doubted, Elias confessed, post-climax, head on Wyatt's chest. City's big scary. Thought you'd move on. Wyatt held tighter. You're my alive. Only. Promises renewed, plans solidified. Wyatt transferring after year one, Yale summers theirs. But shadow fell, Tyler's call, voice wrecked. Accident. Drunk drive after party. Bad. Wyatt rushed hospital, Elias trailing, finding Tyler bandaged, eyes hollow. Knew it was you too. Made me see. My own shit. Confession tumbled. Crushes buried, self-hate fueling cruelty. Wyatt forgave. Hand in Elias's, circle closing. Winter solstice, they stood creekside, snow dusting rare, Elias's ring. Simple band scavenged shop scrap. Slipped on Wyatt's finger. Not forever yet, Elias said. But start. Wyatt kissed him, snowflakes melting on lashes. Always was. The years unspooled like film reels, jagged cuts of joy and grind splicing into something enduring. Wyatt's Austin days were sweat and study. Community college classrooms humming with diverse faces. Football a club sport now. No spotlights but camaraderie real. Nights he'd drive to Yale, weekends, Elias's dorm a cocoon of books and takeout. Their bodies relearning in narrow beds, laughter echoing off brick. Missed this. Elias breathed, legs wrapped, and Wyatt'd reply with thrusts and truths anchoring them. Ridge Valley receded but echoed. Mama's letters monthly, recipes and updates. Tyler's coaching, Pee-wee doing good. Town's got a pride flag at the fair now, thanks to your fuss. Finn's texts, wedding invites, a network woven from fracture. Tyler visited once, sober 2 years, barbecue on the porch, stories traded like amends. You saved me, Harlan. By not hating back. Elias graduated Summa, thesis on queer voices in Southern Lit. Wyatt in front row, tie crooked, applause his loudest cheer. They moved to New Haven proper, tiny apartment above a bakery, scent of croissants waking them to lazy mornings. Coffee brewed while Elias graded papers, Wyatt prepping for teaching cert. High school English passing the torch. Love deep and domestic. Arguments over dishes dissolving to make up sex on the counter. Road trips to Maine coasts where waves crashed like confessions, hands clasped against gales. But conflict simmered chronic, betrayal's ghost in new skins. Elias's first tenure track offer. UCLA, sun-soaked promise. Clashed Wyatt's roots, Austin job interviews pending. Go, Wyatt urged, but nights grew taut, silence is stretching. What if distance kills us again? Elias's eyes, still gray storms, held firm. We choose each other. Every day. Yet doubt gnawed Wyatt's calls to Mama laced with worry, her wisdom steady. Love's not a game, son. No winners, just teams. Climax crested unbidden. A storm named Harlan, Wyatt's uncle, Daddy's brother. Dying in hospice, oil lungs black from rigs. Wyatt flew solo, Elias buried in deadlines. Ridge Valley's hospital sterile and small. Uncle's bedside vigil, rasping breaths, unearthed letters. Daddy's to a lover lost in nom words raw. Hid too long. Don't you? Wyatt wept, forgiveness for ghosts returning changed, proposal bubbling. He drove straight to the creek upon landing, Elias waiting as summoned, flannel swapped for sweater, autumn chill biting. Wyatt dropped to knee, ring from his pocket vintage scavenged Austin flea simple gold etched with a star. Marry me, Elias Crow. Be my forever play. Elias laughed through tears, pulling him up. Yes, idiot. Always. They made love there, grass damp, sky bruising purple, bodies a testament. Slow builds to shattering peaks, vows whispered in release. Wedding was small, Texas spring. Barn dressed in wildflowers, mama officiating with pastor friend, open to all. Finn best man Tyler usher, Clara beaming as she danced with Elias, slow sway to old jazz. Vows under string lights. Wyatt's voice cracking. You made me alive from the bleachers on. Elias is steady. And I'll keep you that way, quarterback. Honeymoon in New Orleans, jazz spilling from balconies, beignet sweet on lips, nights in iron lace beds where desire burned eternal. Elias atop, commanding rhythms, Wyatt yielding with gasps, love a symphony of give and take. Life settled, humanistic weave. Wyatt teaching in Austin suburbs, kids with questions he answered honest. Elias commuting to UCLA, summers theirs in a cottage by the Gulf, writing books that quoted their story veiled. Betrayals faded to lessons, Tyler's sponsorships, Mama's pride marches, town's slow bloom of flags. One evening, porch swing creaking, sunset bleeding orange, Elias leaned into Wyatt, book open on lap. Remember the hook? That first game. Wyatt chuckled, arm around shoulders. How could I forget? You in the stands seeing through. Elias closed the book, turning for a kiss soft as dusk. Still do. And you're still my star. Wyatt pulled him closer, heart full, alive in the quiet thrum. In a world of scores and spotlights, they'd found the true game. Compassion's field, freedom's huddle, identity's unyielding line. No end zones, just endless plays together.